Welcome back to the Foundry by Forge College. Today we're doing something really exciting. We are drafting the absolute ultimate engineering schematic for your API. We call it the Comprehensive Documentation Template. Basically, we're going to take all those high-level best practices we always talk about and translate them into rock-solid, totally actionable artifacts that your entire team can, actually use in the real world.
Have you ever tried building a really complex machine without any blueprints? Think about trying to assemble a high-performance V8 engine blindfolded. Parts are just scattered everywhere across a greasy garage floor. Well, honestly, that is exactly how developers feel when they're forced to navigate chaotic, ad hoc API documentation. It's wildly frustrating, it wastes so many hours, and yeah, it usually leads to some pretty spectacular, totally avoidable explosions in your codebase.
Now, if you've been following along with our track on Web 2 integration and API development on Solana, you already know this builds perfectly on our last session. Step 1 was all about framing API best practices. We basically learned the physics, the foundational rules of what makes a good API tick. So step 2, that's the schematic. This explainer is going to give you the exact blueprint to actually build this out and make those practices a reality.
So let's get into it. What exactly is a comprehensive documentation template? Well, it's a highly structured checklist, and more importantly, it's a strict editorial contract. It absolutely mandates required endpoint fields to ensure you get consistent quality and crystal clear compatibility signals every single time. Look, it's not just a pretty page layout with some nice styling. No way. It's an enforcement mechanism. It forces consistency, it saves a ton of time, and it drastically cuts down on that annoying integration friction.
Here's our quick agenda for this explainer. First, the anatomy of a blueprint. Second, intent and endpoint references. Third, examples and error guidance. Fourth, versioning signals. And finally, number 5, automating the blueprint. Let's get right into it.
All right, section 1, anatomy of a blueprint. We're going to look at the non-negotiable structural elements that hold this entire schematic together. Every single Solana API page absolutely must have these 5 critical load-bearing pillars to actually function as a reliable developer resource. We're talking intent, endpoint reference, examples, error guidance, and version notes. Honestly, if even one of these pillars is missing, the whole structural integrity of your documentation is totally compromised, and trust me, your users are going to feel it immediately.
Because without a template, you're just living in the Wild West. You get silent breaking changes, absolutely zero context, and massive integration headaches. I mean, we have all been victims of that one huge breaking change buried deep in some typo-written commit message from like 3 months ago, right? A strict template replaces all of that chaos with explicit feedback loops, predictable upgrades, and fully automated quality control. It's a total game changer.
Moving right along to section 2, intent and endpoint references. Let's explore how we actually define why an endpoint exists and exactly how to communicate with it.
Okay, so we want to minimize cognitive load right out of the gate. And we do that with a clear one-sentence intent statement. Take this Solana indexer example. Provide a paginated list of SPL token transfers for a specified account ordered newest first for reconciliation and audit use. By stating this right up front, developers won't accidentally try to use the endpoint for something totally different, like, say, real-time streaming. It just sets the record straight instantly.
Now, once that intent is clear, we need the actual endpoint reference specs. This covers the HTTP method and precise path, your canonical request and response schemas, parameter types like specifically requiring a base 58 public key, and of course your authentication requirements. Listen, explicit constraints are absolutely your best friend here. Oh, and if there are expected asynchronous staleness delays, like maybe an indexer is just catching up, that has got to be clearly documented right here. Nobody likes an unpleasant surprise when they're trying to integrate.
Okay, on to section 3, examples and error guidance. This is where our blueprint shows developers the happy path, and more importantly, safely catches them when they inevitably fall off it.
Let me be super clear about this. Examples are simply not optional. Your acceptance criteria must mandate at least 2 runnable examples. Providing something like a minimal curl RPC call right alongside a JavaScript SDK snippet, that drastically reduces integration bugs. When you pair those snippets with a nice annotated sample response, developers can see exactly what success looks like in their specific environment. No more guessing games.
But hey, eventually things will go wrong, and that brings us to the error contract architecture. Your error contract needs an HTTP status code, maybe a 429, and a clear error name, like rate_limit. But here's the crucial part. It needs human remediation steps, things like suggesting an exponential backoff. Kind of think of it as a check engine light for the developer. Alongside that human-friendly advice, you absolutely need a machine-readable JSON table.
That way, integrators can program automated fallback strategies without needing a human to step in and fix it.
Up next is Section 4, Versioning Signals. Let's look at how we communicate evolution and inevitable change over time.
Version notes absolutely must be front and center. I'm talking about the top-level API version, the endpoint-specific schema version, crystal-clear backwards compatibility guarantees, and a firm deprecation timeline. Putting all of this right at the top lets consumers instantly assess their upgrade risks. They should never, ever have to put on a trench coat and play detective, digging through your GitHub history just to figure out if their app is about to break.
Finally, we reach Section 5, Automating the Blueprint. This is where we see the true payoff of our highly structured approach, enforcing all these rules automatically.
So, when we put this all together into a master schematic, we're basically connecting our prioritized practices directly to the physical documentation. The intent section guarantees intent-first documentation. The error guide guarantees operational resilience. Literally every single section of your template has a strictly defined purpose, a corresponding best practice, and a specific versioning signal. It's like a giant puzzle where every piece fits perfectly.
But to make this truly actionable, you've got to convert these required template fields into a JSON schema, or maybe a GitHub pull request checklist for automated CI validation. Actually, through our various Web3 programs over at Forge College, we see this all the time. Setting up CI checks or doc-quality bots is basically the secret sauce to scaling high-quality APIs. It enforces the standard flawlessly, and best of all, it doesn't burn out your human reviewers in the process.
Well, that brings us to the core takeaway for this entire explainer. Documentation is a contract, period. It must describe exactly what an endpoint guarantees, how to use it, how it can fail, and exactly how it's going to evolve. Your comprehensive documentation templates, they're simply the physical enforcement mechanism for that vital contract.
So I'm going to leave you with this one question. If your documentation is a contract, are you actually ready to enforce it? Because implementing these templates is the absolute ultimate preparation for your API lifecycle management. I really want to thank you for joining me today. I highly encourage you to go visit forge.college to explore way more Web3 resources, dive deeper into this stuff, and keep building incredibly robust systems. See you next time.